So what's Yellowhammer Woodcrafts up to today, and what crazy thing am I building now? Well, an event coordinator contacted me a couple days ago. She's one of my best clients. She's always asking me to build weird things, and I don't know what these are called. I just call them wavy walls, but they're used for party props, for a backdrop to take pictures and things. I'm sure she'll add balloons around them and put decorations on them and stuff like that. But if you don't have event coordinators for clients, go out and get you some. They're some of the best clients you'll have for woodworking. They're always asking you to build odd and crazy things. So if you like doing custom stuff and you don't like to build the same stuff over and over again, I really don't like doing that. I've tried, the planners and all the things that you can sell a lot of, multiples of. I just don't like building the same stuff over and over again. I like doing custom stuff like this because it makes you think outside of the box and it really hones in your woodworking skills. So go out and find you some event coordinators and wedding planners and you will have endless business. So if you give me about 5 minutes, I'll show you how I built these. It's really simple and I'll tell you how much they sold for. Everybody actually thought these were slabs of wood because they look so thick on the edges, but all it is just 1/4-inch plywood bent around to make that shape. Well, let's get started cutting up our 2x4s. You're going to need 4 2x4s for each wall, and right now I'm cutting the 3.5-inch pieces to make the curves around the wall. Once you get them cut out, you want to take them over to your sander and sand some edges on them, make them rounded so that the curves will fit around them better. If you don't have a sander like this, just use a palm sander. And then you want to cut your studs for the wall. This is made just like a stud wall. So you want to cut your studs to length. You're going to have 3 of these at the same length. So I'm cutting the ones that go vertical and the tops and the bottoms. On the top and the bottom, you also want to round your edges like I'm doing on the sander. And this just helps the 1/4-inch plywood run around the edge. Then you want to screw your studs together just like you're building a wall. And I put 2 screws in each one from the bottom in. And on your top and bottom boards, you want to make sure you put your rounded edges on both sides. I didn't do that on this one, and I had to go back and add a rounded edge. And you also want your long side on either the left or the right. The top and the bottom needs to stick over on the same side. You'll see what I mean when I show you the back of the wall. When you lay this out, you want to make sure that you have 4 inches on each side of the studs. So if you look at how I have it now, I'll have 4 inches from the edge of that stud to the edge of the plywood. This gives me enough room to put these 3.5-inch pieces that I'm putting on now. And all I did was put a little glue on the edges and put 2 screws in them. You'll have 3 of these 3.5-inch pieces on one side and 2 on the other side. And that's what gives you the wavy look. And you'll alternate them. So on the other side, when I put the other 2 on, you'll see me marking them right here. I'm making sure that they're in the center of the 3 that I put on the other side. And you'll see what I mean when you see the back of it and how it waves. Like right here, you can see that they're alternated. And I'm putting glue on before I put the sheet of plywood down. And to line this up, you'll have your lines drawn on the plywood at 4 inches from the edges on both sides. And once you get it lined up, I just put a few brad nails in it to hold it. The glue's gonna hold it just enough. The brad nails are just to hold it in place while the glue dries. Okay, now when you get ready to do your edges, I'm using 1/4-inch plywood and I'm wetting it. And the reason I'm wetting it is because it makes it soft and easy to bend. And you'll want to take it and bend it just a little, and you don't want to bend it so much that you hear it start cracking, but you'll know, and you just hold it there for a few seconds so that it stretches out those wood fibers. And the water really helps it not to break when you start bending it around these edges. As long as you go slow and take your time with it, you won't crack it. But if you do, you can fix it with some little wood putty and cover it up. Now if you crack it too bad, you'll have to do another strip. These strips are cut 3.5 inches wide to match the thickness of the 2x4s. You'll want to put screws at the top and then screws on every inside curve. You don't have to put the screws on the outside curves because the pressure is going to hold it. And you don't want to have more screws that you have to cover up with wood putty. You can put glue on it on the inside and the outside. And then for the outside curve, just put a few brad nails in it if you want to. You really don't have to. I didn't on most of them. But I did try to put glue on everywhere that it touches the wood to help hold it. These have been sitting for a couple days and I haven't had any issues with it popping out or popping loose. So once the glue dries, you're going to be golden. As long as you take your time in bending these strips around, you won't have any issues. When you cut these strips, you want them 3.5 inches wide, like I was saying, and leave them 8 feet long. That way you have some left over on the end and you won't come up short with the bends, and then you can just cut off the leftover. Now we're going to turn it over and we're going to use a jigsaw to cut as close as possible without touching the edges, because if you touch the edges, you're going to scratch up your wood and then you're going to see it when you paint it. So get as close as possible without touching it, and you might have to go over it a couple of times. You want it to be about 1/4 inch. That way when you get ready to run your router along the edges, you won't have to go over it twice. And now you see me running my router. You'll need a bit with a bearing on the bottom so that you can run along the edge of your 1/4 inch plywood. The bases are just 12.5 inches wide and 48 inches long. I actually used the tops of the 8-foot sheet that I cut down to 6 foot. If you save it, you can use that for the bottoms. And then on the taller wall, it's a little bit wider because the wall's taller. I think I did a 14-inch base, 14-inch wide base by 48. And the bases are just screwed from the bottom up. So I'm going to do something different and ask everyone what they think I sold these for and how much I have in materials. Leave me a comment on what you think these sold for, and I'll let you know in a couple days what the actual amount was. Hey, if you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and let us know down in the comments what you'd like to see us build next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.